Hello everyone, Mark Hanson Audio here with the Reaper podcast editing tip. How cool would it be if you could remove big silences, like for example these big horrible silences, in a podcast recording with one button click without ever having to stop playback and without losing sync with other people in your conversation, all by pressing one button. I'll show you what I mean. Let's hit play.
Four stat is being four stats, which power, toughness, speed, and charisma. And basically, the game will randomly decide which stat will decide the victory in this game at the start of the round. Then you play the card you think is best, your best winning, and your opponent plays a card.
How cool is that? So that was me just pressing the F1 key and nothing else. Right, so I'll show you how I did it. I'm going to just undo all this, get back to the start. Okay, so I did this by going into the actions list and creating a custom action. If you've never done this before, don't freak out. This is the first one I ever did. Okay, so custom actions, you can create a new one up here. I've got my pre-made handy dandy one I prepared earlier, podcast silence cuts. I have named it, and I've set up a shortcut by going down here and choosing F1, which is a nice key. Very easy to remember. Okay, so normally you go to new, but since I've already got it, I'm going to go to edit, and we can have a look at this thing. So this side here is where we want to be paying attention to. Basically what I've done is set it up so whenever I press my F1 key, 5 actions occur. Number 1, split item at time selection. So when I was dragging over here, I was doing a time selection that would go over my two conversations. Okay, action number, so it would split items at my time selection. Number 2, options, ripple editing per track. So ripple editing, if you don't know, is this button up here, which can be set to 3 modes, off, per track, and all tracks. So what that button does is similar to shuffle mode in Pro Tools. I'll quickly demonstrate what it does. So when it's off, which it currently is, say if I have make a split here, and a split there, and hit delete, it just disappears. Okay, so if I bring that back in and change it to ripple editing per track and hit delete, you'll notice that whole thing shuffles to then hit the edge of that region. Okay, if I then put that to all tracks and then hit delete, everything on all tracks moves. I hate ripple editing per all tracks. It can get you in a real pickle and make it very easy to make very serious mistakes that you don't want to make. So I'm just going to undo a bunch of stuff there, get myself clear. But what we want is ripple editing per track. So we'll go back to our actions list. Up here, choose edit. So options, ripple editing per track. What it means is it's going to enable ripple editing per track. So by default, I've currently got it set to off. What it's going to do whenever I press F1, after it splits the items at the time selection, it's going to do ripple editing per track. So it's going to enable that. Next, remove items. Basically, it's going to hit the delete key for us. Next, options, ripple editing off. It's going to turn ripple editing back off again. Then finally, time selection, remove time selection. This one's not entirely necessary for the process, but basically what it does is it just clears the time selection. So when you notice when I hit my F1 key and then make the cut, the time selection itself disappears. If that final action wasn't on the list, that time selection would linger about. This is an awesomely powerful thing that just the last podcast I edited, which was this one, I was amazed at how much quicker it was to do the editing because I was listening to the whole thing just for general content, making sure I cut out any swear words, that sort of stuff. But while I was doing it, say if my playhead was over here,
what you get is
I was already editing over here and editing out these silences without ever stopping the flow back of it, flow or the playback of anything, and it was really awesome. So I say don't freak out if this is the first time you ever made a custom action. That was the first one I ever did, and it was immensely successful. Just think about what you're doing with your mouse and your keyboard. What are the sequence of actions that you're doing? Then try put them into a single custom action and see if you can make Reaper do the hard work for you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's, whatever it was, Reaper tutorial. My name is Mark Hanson Audio. Please like, rate, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Adios.